Good evening, everyone. My name is Amadi Chile, and I'm your instructor that will guide you through the duration of this youth tribe program. And today, we are going to begin the course for the front-end web development. But who is a front-end web developer? So the front-end web developer is someone who creates websites and web applications. Now the difference between the front end and the back end is that the front end refers to how a web page looks, while back end refers to how it works. Now the front end and the back end makes up what we call a full stack web developer. So a full stack web developer is somebody that knows how to design the front end and the back end. And here is another definition. A front end web development is the development of the graphical user interface of a website through the use of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So users can view and interact with that website. So this is also a good definition, and it even informs us of the three basic programming languages that a website must contain, or a web application must contain: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So we are going to focus on the front end web development. So nowadays, a front-end developer doesn't have to worry himself about how the website should look, like about the font, the icons to be used, how it is arranged, user experience, and other stuff. That is the work of the web designers or the UI/UX designers, and they use a popular software called Figma. So bringing it to the house analogy, they are like the architect that designed a house. So after the architect designed a house, that house is not real. You cannot pack into that house. But if a civil engineer receives the architectural plan, then the civil engineer will now use his own expertise to bring that house into reality, which people can live inside. And that is you, the web developer. So after considering the concept of the new website, they will do all their research and design. After it has been approved, then they will bring it to you as a web developer. And as we saw, if you can remember this definition, you will now use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to build the website so that users can interact with it. So let's now move to our stack. Now, when you hear about the word stack as a web developer, it just means the set of programming language that you love using to do your work. And I'll explain what I mean about that now. Now, as we already know, the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, they are the basics. So every web developer must know these three basic language. But React is a library. and there are frameworks and other libraries too. So as a front-end developer, I can decide to use React to do my work. Another developer can decide to be using Nest.js to do his work, while another can decide to use Vue.js. Another one can decide to use AngularJS or any other framework or library that he feels comfortable working with. Now, just to mention this, a library is built with the basic programming language, while a framework is built on a library. For instance, using a library will do some heavy lifting for you. That means you don't have to write so many lines of code to achieve a task. Whereas a framework which is built on top of the library does more heavy lifting for you, so you become fast in achieving a particular task. Now, Sass, Tailwind, and Bootstrap, they are built on top CSS. This is a library and these are all framework. But the good news is that if you understand any of this, you'll be able to use this. From here to here, they just simply make your work faster and reusable, especially in complex projects. Now, JavaScript, or TypeScript rather, is an extension of JavaScript. It makes JavaScript more powerful. And this Firebase here, if there is time, we are going to learn how to use this. Now, I mentioned earlier, according to this definition here, it says the difference between a front end and a back end refers to the front end developer focuses on the part of the website that the user can see, while the back end refers to how it works. So using a software or an API like Firebase, you can build a full stack application even without knowing the backend. You just learn how to use it. Now, before we dive into the coding aspect, I want to explain when you will need to use each of these programming language. This first thread. Now, using the house analogy again, the HTML is like the structure of the house, the block, the wood, and the rods that make the house stand firm. CSS is just like the paint and whatever you put into the house to make it very fine and comfortable. Whereas JavaScript is like the electricity that powers the house. Now imagine on a sunny day there is too much heat. If you have electricity, you can be enjoying the comfort of the fan or the air condition. Now if there is no light, the house will not be that comfortable. So JavaScript adds more interactivity to a website. For example, if I click on this hamburger menu, you see that this sidebar reduces, and if I click again, it expands. So this is an example of what JavaScript does to a website. Okay. So now that we know the three basic languages that we need to use to design a website. Let's now begin to know each of them one after the other. So we'll start with the installations. Now, I left a material for you on your Google Classroom of how to install VS Code and Git. So I want to demo that in a minute. So you can search VS Code download, then you click on this first one, then you download the one for your operating system, and if your operating system is supported, you will see it among this list. Then, hoping that you have downloaded it, I'll look for where I downloaded my own. It should be here. Okay, it's not here, so let me look for it again. So I've seen one. So if I double click it, then you click on yes, you accept and click next. Then make sure all these things are checked. Then next and install. So I've installed my own and I don't need to do this. But in case you did not check these three boxes, you can repeat the installation process again and check the boxes. And even if you have installed some extension, like I encourage you to do on Google Classroom, your extensions will not be deleted. It will still be there. Only that it will just update these preferences. Then the next is Git. So I also told you to install Git. So if you double click it, it's also very straightforward. Just wait for it to open. You click on yes. Then next and next. Just next, 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 and next, and it should install. So I've already installed my own, so there's no need for this. So I think I should give it this. Okay, so now if you have already installed Git, if you right click on any part of your system, you should be able to see, or on a folder and right click, you should be able to see Git bash here. I think that thing I just did now, I just removed Git from my system, so I have to install it again. So it just next until it finish installing. So while this is installing, I want to show us how to open a project folder using our VS Code. So what is a project folder? A project folder is a folder where all the files and documents that your website needs to function properly are kept. So it should not be random or randomly scattered in your system. It should be arranged, and that is very, very important when you want to host your website. So I'm going to right click on new and choose the new folder, and I will just type HTML and hit enter. Then I will right click, and because we checked those things, we will now see this open with code. So I'll do that. So I'll cross this off. Then this icon that is here is called the Explorer icon. It can help you to see all the files that you have on your project folder. Then the next important icon I want to show you is the extensions. If you recall, I encourage you to install some extensions that are listed on your Google Classroom, and one of it is the live server. So to install that, you simply search live server and I encourage you to download this one by Tweakdale. So using this process, you can install those extensions effectively. Now, an extension in VS Code, they are like third-party programs that improves the power of your VS Code, and in other words, it improves your coding experience. So that is what an extension does. So we click back on this. Next, I want to create the first HTML file, which is index.html. Now, why do we name it index.html? This name is deliberate because it is internationally accepted as the entry point of the website, and it also supports search engine optimization, and that means the programs that search companies like Google uses to find information on the website take the index page as the entry point of the website. So if you name any other page as index, it will be misleading and your search engine optimization will be low. Next, we want to write some HTML. So to begin, you type Shift and 1. Just hold the Shift key and 1, and wait until this emit abbreviation is up. Then you click it or you hit the enter key, and it will bring out this boilerplate for you. So in order for me to have more room, I'll click on this Explorer icon again, but if you notice, it is overflowing on my vscode. So I would hold Alt key and Z, and it will set it like this. Now, in order for the browser to know that this is a web page, we need to save it with the extension HTML. And HTML simply means hypertext markup language. And as I explained earlier, it is the structure of the website. Now, this first tag here informs the browser that this is the beginning of the web page. Next is the root tag, which is known as the HTML tag, and this attribute here simply tells the web browser or give it an added information that this website is written in English. Then the HTML tag has two important child tag, which is the head tag and the body tag. Now, one of the important tags inside the head tag is the title tag. It is used to display the title of the page on the web browser. So if you have installed your live server, you save by pressing Ctrl S, then right click, scroll down and select open with live server. So this will open up a local development server for you and render the page on your web browser. Now you notice that the page is blank because there's nothing inside our body tag, but we are seeing this, the title here, as document. So if I go back and I change it to You Thrive Program, for example, and I save, you see that the title of the web page has been changed. Then all this extra metadata here, they just add some extra information that will make the web page to render in a better way. Next, we move to the body tag. Now, just like the name, the body tag, it is the largest and it contains everything that the user can see. For example, you notice that this text that is shown here is being displayed by the title tag, whereas everything from here to here is the body tag. So everything that we can see here is the body tag. So the next thing that we need to now observe now is tag. What are tags? Because we are just saying tags here. So tags, they are the building blocks of HTML. How do you recognize a tag? Now, to recognize a tag, it starts with a less than and ends with a greater than. This is known as the opening tag. So inside it, the first text you see is the tag name. Then any other thing you see inside it, they are known as attributes. Now, you might be hearing tag and element. Technically, they mean the same thing. So we have various types of tags. We have the one that have the opening tags and the closing tag. And just know that the closing tag must always start with a slash, then followed by the tag name. And always remember that the attributes of a tag must always be in the opening tag. So this is an example of a self-closing tag which does not have the opening tag. And this is also an example, but this is more useful when we start React, but you can use this for your HTML for now. Now, what are attributes of a tag? Now, attributes, they come in key value pair separated by an equal to. For example, I can have, for example, let me show you on this VS Code. So this meta tag here has a name attribute, and its value is what? Is viewport, and they are separated by what? An equal to symbol. Now, always remember that the value of an attribute should be inside a single quote or a double quote. Then, as you can also see from here, a tag can have more than one attribute. So we have the name attribute, we have the content attribute. Now, attributes add additional information that will enable the web browser to display the tag in a better format. So this is how we recognize a tag. They must be inside an angle bracket. So next, we are going to now follow this, and I'll demonstrate how we write each of these tags beginning from here. So we start with the h1 tag. So if you're using VS Code, which is very, very smart, to type the h1, just type h1 and hit enter. Now the h1 simply means heading 1. So I'm going to type youth drive and save. So this shows that it is a heading 1 tag. Now the h1 tag, they are the h tag, they are from h1 to h6. So I want to also demonstrate that too. So I want to duplicate it by using shift. I will hold my shift key, my alt key, and arrow down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I want to change this to h2. So I'll click here, I hold my alt key and click here again, so I can mark those two places. So I'll change that to h2. I'll come down, I'll change that to h3. I'll come down, I'll change that to h4. I'll come down, I'll change that to h5. I'll come down, I'll change that to h6. So let's see which of these tags is the biggest. So as you might have guessed, is the h1 that is the biggest. Now the question now comes, how many times should we use the h1 or the h2, or can we use them as we like? Well, it is recommended that for any HTML page, the h1 tag should only appear once. Then these other ones can also apply, be used more than once, but this one must be used once in a page. So this is a page, this is a page, so there should only be one h tag here. So now the next thing I want to learn is how do we add some text like this in our website. Now this will likely be the paragraph tag or the p tag, because this looks like a paragraph, and you know in English a paragraph just conveys a single thought. So we know the paragraph in HTML as the p tag. So I'll hit enter, then I'll type this is my first paragraph. So I'll save. So because I'm using my live server, I don't have to refresh. It does that for me. So this is my first paragraph. Then I can also come here and copy this and say Ctrl C. I'll come here and say and type P. Then I'll paste. And go back. You see it displays like this. Now in most cases you might be developing a website but you don't have the actual information, but you just need some text, some dummy text to just populate it. Well, to save you the stress of looking for any text that you like online or from any of your Word document, VS Code enables you to generate random text. So I'm going to generate a random text by using the keyword lorem. So I'll type P. I know that in computer a keyword is a reserved word that means something to the computer. So when the computer sees it, it carries out a set of instructions. So this is a reserved word. So if I hit enter, you see that it generates for me about 50 lines of code, which looks like Latin. So if I save and preview, you see that this is it. Now this is a very nice idea, isn't it? But there's more. What if I want 100 or 200 words? Yes, you can do that using lorem, and this is how I do it. So I will bring up my p tag and I'll type lorem. Now this part is very, very important. You type the number of words that you want. So I'll type 150 and make sure your emit abbreviation is showing and you hit enter. Now this is going to generate 150 words for me. So this relieves you of that stress of looking for text, then copy and paste. It is now faster for you using the paragraph tag. So the next key point that we'll cover today is the div tag. Now the div tag is related to the section tag. They are just containers that we use to group a set of related information in a website. So for instance, in a website I can group all of this in a div. I can group all of this in a div, this in a div, then these two div or these two containers can be inside a section tag. So they do the same work, but the section tag is more meaningful. So it is recommended that you use the section tag. So I'm going to cut this and use the section tag. Then I'll paste. Then I'll bring out a paragraph tag and I'll say lorem 99, hit enter, and I'll have my p tag. I'll have my p tag and I'll say lorem 29. So if I save and refresh, you notice that this is our output, but to the eyes you will not notice that all of this they are inside a section tag. Now this is very important. Grouping tags inside a container like this is very useful when we start learning CSS. Then the next tag is the nav tag. So now the nav tag is a short form for navigation. So if we go to this website here, this Google Chrome search home or the result, these are all, this is an example of what is inside a nav tag. So if I want to go to the image tab, I can click here to take me to that point. Sorry, my internet is off. So that is what it does. I set my phone to off by 12 and that is why it's off. So but let's continue. It will soon come back. So I will just type nav now. Like I earlier explained, the nav tag, one of the important tags inside is the anchor tag or the address tag or the link tag. It is used to redirect users to other pages in our website or outside our website or to other websites. So we are going to build a basic nav bar. So I will have my anchor tag. So just type A and you hit enter. Then we say dot and forward slash, and this means open in the current directory. So we use the href to load the path or to tell the web browser where it will find the website that we want to direct the user to. So for here it is the index.html. So I'll put here home, then shift alt arrow down to duplicate this. I'll change that to my about. So here is about. So if I save this, should be able to see that here. So if I click on this now, it will still refresh, but because I'm in the home page, it will show me this. But if I click on this, it will show me this error message, and this is true because I don't have my about.html in my root directory. So I'm going to create that now. So I'll type on this first icon, which is the new file, and this one we are going to use to create a new folder. But I want to use these two icons. I can also right click here and choose the new file or the new folder. So I'll click and type about.html. Then to bring out the HTML boilerplate, the recall is Shift Alt 1. I'll hit my enter. Then I'll close this Explorer tab to give us some room. Then I'll hold Alt Z to stop the overflow. So I'll change this now to about. So if I save and refresh, you see that the error page or the error message disappears. So I can add a new H1 and say about me. So if I save, this is what I get. Now, wouldn't it be nice for me to use the nav tag to navigate back to the home page without using this browser's back button? Well, that would be nice, and let's do that. So we go to the home page and just copy this. And paste. Now this will not throw an error because the index.html and the about.html files, they are all inside the same folder. So this path reference is still correct. So if I save it, so I can go to the about, I can now go to my home page. So this is how we use the anchor tag to redirect users to more pages within our website. Now, can we use the anchor tag to direct users to a website that is external to our own? Well, the answer is yes. So let's do that in the about page. So I'm going to put an anchor tag here, and I'm going to type HTTP. So I'm going to just copy a link here. So whatever link you just copy, that is what will show you, but I can type it myself. So http www.google.com. So if I'll put here visit Google. So if I save this and come back, I click my about, I'm going to see this Google. So if I click this, sorry, I'm not connected to my internet, so let me do that. So just a moment, it's going to come up. So it's up. So if I refresh or rather, let me go back. Okay, so if I click on this, you see that it will load the google.com homepage. Now, wouldn't it be nice if this google.com page loads on a different tab, so that the user can easily come back to our own web page, just like this? So that is possible. All we need to do is to add an attribute called target. Then we'll choose the first one, which is underscore blank. So if I go back here and click on this link again, sorry, I need to refresh that. So it's refresh. So if I click now, so you see it has opened it on a new tab. So let's go back to the key points. How do we use the footer tag? Now the footer tag, or a footer tag, does a job that looks like this. So if you come down to this Google, let's see this footer. So this information here can be likened to the footer tag. Then so let's see how we can add that. So I can go to, I'll just come down and say footer. Then one of the special character that used to be inside the footer is this. So you can write and copy say Amadi Chile. So if I save, this is how it will look like. Now I want to show you some other special characters. I can change this to LT, which is less than, and to show that I can say hash (977 6). I save, I'll have that. So special characters, or in HTML, this is one of the use case of special characters. Now, for example, this less than and greater than sign, or this angle bracket, they are like keywords in HTML. So it's not professional for you to add them by just typing the less than or the greater than sign. Now, even though it still shows, but it's not professional. So the best way to do that would be to use the special character, which is like a Unicode that is internationally accepted and understood by web browsers. So if I type LT like this, you should see that. So if you want to see the list of special characters, so you can type HTML special Unicode. Or HTML special characters. So they are known as HTML symbols, if you like. Then if you go to the British school, you're going to see a list of them. So there are so many of them. So if you need them, you can come to this reference and get them. So I was able to remember those ones because I've used them before. So if you don't want to use this copy, you can use this hash sign. Then if you don't want to use one, you can use this one. So this is how you get them. So they are usually this and this, they are usually used in the footer tag. So let's proceed. The next tag here is the span is the span tag. So when is a use case where we need a span tag, where a use case can be shown here. Say for example, this is the Google logo, but let's say I want to use my HTML to design this. How will I do this? Now if I want to do that, I'll just type maybe any tag of my choice. So I'll just type a p tag and I'll say Google and save. Now there's one thing that I just remembered now. In HTML, you can also add a comment. Now, this is how a comment looks like. If I type something, it will not show on the output. So if I save, you notice that it's not there. So if I save, you not see that rubbish I just typed. Now it then means that when the web browser was processing this HTML file, it skipped this. So a comment is used, or if the browser sees the comment, it skips it. Then we can also use the comment to explain our code to ourselves or to others who might be reading our code. So I can say showing an example of when to use span tag. So this is an explanation and it makes sense. Now it is encouraged that you use comments generously. It is one of the things that makes someone a good developer, because you can write your code and know how to use it, and other people too can read and understand what you're doing. They don't have to crack their brain to understand what you're doing. So if you notice now, for example, let's say I want to make this blue and make this red as is here, then I'll leave this as a default color. So if I add the style attribute, for example, and I type color of blue, so you notice that everything becomes what? Blue. Now how can I make this one now to be what? Red. So I can just cut it out. I say span I type my E, then I'll backspace. Now if I save, you see that there is no visible difference, but now it gives me the ability to add the style that I want, which is an attribute. So I can say the color should be what? Red. So if I save, you notice that it's shown like this. So this is an example of when we use a span tag. So next, I'll move to the next key point, which is we've done this, how to prevent link tag from opening on the same web page, how to use anchor tag to do bookmark. So the anchor tag can be used to do a bookmark. And what is a bookmark? A bookmark helps a user to easily scroll down to a page. Now it is used when your page is very, very long, and if you foresee that that will lower down your user experience, you can use the anchor tag to do bookmark, and it works very, very fast, like the bookmark that we make in our Bible. It's just once we bookmark a page on our Bible, we can easily open it when we want. So I want to add some text here so that I share to this last one so that it will scroll down more. So let me do that. So I'll go to the index page, scroll down. So yeah, I wanna say lorem 500. I'll do another again, P and lorem 300. So by now we should have a long scroll bar. So you see. So now let's assume that I want, if a user clicks a link here, it should take the person down here automatically. So the first step is this. Remember that the point where the user will click must be a link, but where it will end, it is not compulsory that it would be what? A link. Then it then means somehow it will know where it will stop. So how does it know that? It needs an address. So how do we add that address? I'll show you in a moment. So I want to add here now an anchor tag. I'll add my hash sign or my pound sign, and I'll say move down to heading 6. Now if I save this, you notice that if I click this, it goes nowhere. So this is a reminder that if you add this sign to the hash, to the href of an anchor tag, it tells the browser that you don't want this link to go anywhere. But if there is a text after this that serves as the address or the position where it will stop when it is skimming through your web page. So if you click on this now, if you add an address and click on this, it will like start from the top and begin to search for that address that you put there, and when it finds it, it will stop. So for example, let me add here down, then I'll go to where it will stop, which is here. and I'll use ID and I'll type stop. Now just mention, the value of attributes, they are case sensitive. So small letter stop and capital letter stop, they are not the same thing. So just to recap again, the place where the bookmark will start must be a link tag. Then so that means we should use stop here instead of down. So the address must be the same thing. So this is the address where it will stop, and it must be an ID. An ID is an attribute, and by the time we get to CSS, I'm going to explain what an ID is and how to use it. But just know that we are using it now to implement our bookmark. So let's test our code. So if I click on this place now, see, it takes me right here, and you see where it stops. So this is one way we can use the bookmark. So on your own, you can add an anchor tag there, so that when the user clicks, it will take the person to the top. So next, we move to the next point, how to use the anchor tag to open up email submit form. So how do we do that? So let's go to the about page, and I can type here anchor, then tab, I will say email me. So how do I do that? I'll type mail to, then I'll type Amadi Chile 007 at gmail.com. So if I save this, and go to my about page and click on this link. Now if I click on this, it will open this on this tab, which I don't want. So I'm going to go back and add a target, and I'll choose blank so that it will open it in a new tab. So if I do this now, you notice it opens it in a new tab. And once you seal this, you know that it will open up my email. So that has worked. So we move to the next one. Now when it now opens, the person doesn't need to know my email. The person will just need to type the title of the email, which is here, and the content, and send. My email that I type in my HTML will automatically appear here. So that has worked. So next we move to the break tag. So if you observe, you notice that in our web page, actually if you look at this place, the text move to the end here before it to on its own break. What if I want to break it here by default? So let's use an example. So I'm going to say P, then lorem, Z. So if I save, it will appear like this. Let's assume I want to break it into 4 lines. So I can say this enter, this enter, and this enter. So by doing this now, we expect that it will break into four lines, right? But that didn't work. This shows that the web browser does not respect our break that we put in our VS Code. So to achieve that, we have to add the break tag in these 3 places. So I'll type B arrow, which is the short form for break. Then if I hit enter and save, you see that it now looks the way I want. But supposing I don't want to use the break tag, I can now use another tag called the pre tag, which is the short form for preserve. So if I say pre and hit enter, and this is especially useful when you copy something from Google, so or from any web page, and you want it to keep the formatting, that is the way you copied it, let it be like that. So if I save this, if I copy this, and just to demonstrate, if I add this in a p tag and save, you see that it will display like this, just the way it used to display before. But now if I wrap it inside a pre tag and save, so what happened? Okay, it still happened the same way, but you notice something now, that if I add a break here, sorry, let me go back. So if I hit enter there, I hit enter here, I enter here, and I save, so you see that it now respects those breaks. So this is one of the use cases of the pre tag, and by default it has a different font family and size given to it by the browser, but you can use CSS to change it to make it look exactly like this. Okay, so the next one I want to do now is how to make ordered and unordered lists. And there are 2 tags that we have not done. Okay, there's just 1 tag that we've not done here, which is the put. So just to demonstrate that, if I cut that and put Q, if I save that, you see that the depths now will be inside a put. So I just wanted you to know this. Now what if you want to make this date now bold? So we can use the B tag or the strong tag or the EM tag, but I'll use the B tag for now because outwardly they look the same. So they almost look the same rather. So this is how it looks like. So the next part now for us now is to learn how to make ordered and ordered list. Now this is an example of an unordered list. Why? Because at a glance I cannot tell how many key points that we are to learn on Saturday. So how do we make this on our web page? So I'm going to I'm going to type UL, which is a short form for unordered list. Then I'm going to use the li tag, which means list. So for each of the lists or for the items, we need the li tag. So I'm going to put here CSS. I'm going to put here JavaScript. I'm going to put here HTML. As you recall, these are the three basic programming languages that we need to learn in how to build a web page. Now, if I save this, you notice that it's going to show this. But how do I make this more descriptive? I can put inside there the H3 basic web dev languages. So if I save now, see, this is more descriptive. Now for the unordered list, we use the OL. Then I'm going to type outside it the H3 list of African countries. So the LI, I'm going to put Nigeria. LI, I'm going to put Ghana. LI, I'm going to put Nigeria. So the list can go on and on, but if you notice, this is more descriptive. At a glance, I can know that they are just three. But this, especially when they are much like this, I cannot know how many items are in the list. So that is how we add a list. So next, we will now move to how to add images from a URL or from your project folder. So let's do that. So to do that, we need to create a folder, and if you notice, I click here so that I will bring add this border. Then to create the image folder so that it will not be scattered, it will be well arranged, I tap on the second icon here and I'll type images. And this image folder I've changed because I'm using an extension called vscode icon, so you can use the extensions to install it. Next, I'll search in my computer and look for any images that I would like to add. So I'll go back, come here, I'll save. I'll just copy this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I can drag them and drop inside my VS Code. Then another method would be to just copy it like this. So I'll right click and copy. Then I'll come back. I will now click on this folder like this. Then I will now bring out this review in Explorer. Then I'll double click on the image. Then I can paste. So now that we have this folder and the images, let me show you how you add it. So I'm going to add the comments, adding images. So to add this comment using VS Code, just type control and /. To bring out the comment for HTML, if you're adding CSS, still the same control and /. To bring it out. If you're adding JavaScript, still the same control and /. So you don't have to remember how to write a comment or write this lengthy thing because you want to add comments, so it makes it easier for you. So we use the img tag. Then the first attribute is the source, and what the second one is the auth. So inside here we are going to tell our browser where to find the image that we want to load. So again, we do dot and /. We move to the images folder. Then I'll choose any image I want. Then I'm going to put as the auth a text that describes the image. And this is very, very important for two reasons. Supposing this part here is wrong, it's not going to show a broken image symbol and the description. Then for screen readers, it's now going to use whatever you put in this auth to describe the image for the user. So I'm going to put here it proceeds up. So if I save, you notice I have an image now. Now, supposing I type here 4, which does not exist here. So if I save, you notice that I have this broken image symbol with whatever I type on the auth. So if I do Ctrl Z, so if I change this back to 1, see that it's still showing. Now, this image is too big. What if I want to reduce this? And now we don't know CSS, but we can use two attributes, width and height here. So width should be 300, and this will likely be pixel. Height 300. So if I save, you see that the image size has been reduced. So next, let us now learn how to add an image from using a URL, the one that does not live or exist in our system. So I'll say HTML, I'll say img. Then I'm going to search for one on the browser, and I'll type night sky x. So I'll just select one and wait for it to load. So it has finished loading. So I'll right click and choose copy image address. Copy image address. Then I'll go back to my VS Code. I'll paste. Then inside the alt, I'm going to type nice night sky picture. So if I save, this is going to display. Now you notice that this was an image tag and this is also an image tag. Now, unlike the pic tag, why did it not come below this one? So this brings us to a very nice observation, and this is also a link tag. So why did it not come here? So this makes us to understand that we can group tags into two based on how they display. We have the block tags, which is this, the h1 tag, the paragraph tag, the pre tag, and the list tag, and they are all examples of block tags. So no matter how you arrange them, they're going to display in block. They're going to stack on top of each other. But for the link tag or the video tag, as long as there is still space, they're going to display in line. So they're going to stay in one line, while the block tag must stack on top each other. So I just wanted to point this out. So next we are going to move to this one. So we've learned how to add images from a URL and from your project folder. Next, you're going to now learn how to add audio and video to our website. So we still need to add some images and audio. So I'll look for them in my computer, and you should also do the same. So I'll look for them, web HTML classes, CSS and HTML code, this. So I'm going to copy this feed and audio. So like I said earlier, I can copy this like this, and I'll come here, I'll click review in Explorer like this, then I'll paste them here, or you use the drag and drop method. So now this is going to reflect on my VS Code. So now that we have these images and audio files here, let me show you how to use them. So again, I'm going to make a comment down here and say adding audio. So say audio, then the source to my audio file. So I'll say dot and / my audio folder, the first one. So if I save, let's see what will show. Nothing. Now how do we make it to show? We need to add an extra attribute called controls. So if I save that and preview, I'm going to see the audio file. So if I play this now, so that is how you add an audio file. to your web page. This is just the basics. Then next, we want to learn how to add video files. So say adding a video. So you see the same thing. You use the video tag. So video, add the source, video, and this. So of course we know that this will not play. And why is that? Because we've not added our control. But unlike the audio tag, if you don't add the control attribute, it will just show you the image as a picture. That is too big, so let me choose another video. See the second one. So here now I need to add the control. So again, if you want to reduce this video, you can add the height and width attribute. So I have this now, and just a reminder again, the audio and the video tag, they are all inline tag, so that is why they are inline. So if I save now.
Do you want to swim faster? Here are 3 tips that will help you speed things up.
So that is it. That is how you add the video file, and just I can stop the audio. I can reduce the volume.
Swimming fast requires body strength, and therefore top swimmers spend quite some time in the gym in addition to the pool training. Swimming strength not only helps you with swimming short distances fast, it also helps you maintain your speed and efficiency over longer distances. So building strength is essential if you want to improve your swim speed in general.
So
how to do it? You don't need to hit the
video tag. So the next on our list, the key points that we have to cover today is how to make a simple result sheet table. So this leads us to the table tag. So let's say adding tables, not tables, tables. So we'll start with the table. Then, so let's see an example. Let me search for one to give us. So if you go to this point, HTML tables, and this is the example. So this is how a table looks like. So we have the company, we have the contact, and we have the country. So you using CSS, you can style it to look like this, but let's just add 1 or 2 of this and see if we can make it to show like this. So I sent you this link of how to use about W3 School. You can use this website to learn more about the HTML tags and some other added information. So I encourage you to use this to learn, and other ones that I sent to you. So if I click on this, try it yourself. So you can find these links on the materials I dropped on your Google Classroom. Why is it taking so long? Okay, so if you take a look at the HTML, you see that we have table tag here, we have the T arrow tag, which is like the row tag, then this is like the TH, which is a table data unique to, okay, this one I just used for the heading tag, then this and this. So you notice that to get 1, 2, 3 and all the way through, for each of the table data or the TD must be 3 on each row, but this TH is a short form for the table head. This TD is a short form for the table data. So this is only unique when you want to, or is only used when you want to use it as a head. It gives it a different styling by default. So now that we've got the concept, we don't need to just copy this thing like this and paste. We need to type it ourselves so that if we make mistake, we can learn from it. So come back here, I'll say T arrow. Then what do we have? We have T H. We have the name, the company, and what? We have the company, the contact, and country. So we have the name, company, contact, and country. Now the next one, so I can do Shift Alt arrow down just to copy this. So I can change this. The company is, let me say, Career. I have to use their own CareerEX. The contact, you can say just to be short. Then with the country, you can say Nigeria. Then of course I have to change this to TD. So I'll just hold my Alt key and click all of this. Then hold my D. Then next I'll duplicate the Shift Alt arrow down 1, 2. So I'll change this to MTN. So Port Harcourt, or I can say yes, see Nigeria. Then this, and say Dell. Yeah, I can see Delta. I say still Nigeria. So if you have meaningful content, you can try or can use, but this is just for illustration purpose. Or better still, you can come here and copy and paste. But don't copy this and paste this. As a front-end developer, you must learn how to understand the principles of a code, then learn how to apply it to get what you want. So if we want exactly this, then we'll have to copy everything like this, and by the time we apply stylings, it will look like this. So let us save. So I want to save, so I press the wrong save. So if I do this, I should have this. So you see that it is arranged. This is the company, this is the contact, and this is the country arranged. So lastly, when I want to learn how to create a simple sign-up form to collect first name, the last name, email, gender, and a checkbox to accept terms and condition. So let's do that right away. So I'm going to say add in forms. Now I believe we all have used a web form before, and just like the key point mentioned, it is used to collect information from a user. For example, if you want to log into a website, they will use some form tags or the form tag to collect some information. If you want to register, if you want to be part of a Q&A question, they will likely use a form if it's via the internet. So that is what a form does. So form. Now this action attribute is used, I think is in PHP, to send whatever we have put inside our form. It will attempt to send it to the right backend server or codes to process. So we're going to use the field set. It's just like a container like div that helps us to group our form, and it's also very important for styling purposes. So the first one is first name. So I have my label, and I'll say first name tab first name. Then the next is the input. I'll say type is text. We'll say the name is first name, and the ID is first name. Now this ID is very important, so that when the user clicks on this label tag, it will now send the focus to this input part, so that the user can start clicking. So, or the user can start typing. So let me demo that for you. So if I click on this first name, you see that this input has gained focus, but if it is not there, then it will not work that way. So that is one of the reasons for making sure that what we put in our 4 attributes rhymes with our ID. So the next one is the last name. So to reduce typing, shift alt arrow down, I'll change this to last name. So I highlight it, highlight it, highlight it. Last one was slow. Something is hanging. Okay, let me do one after the other. Last name, last name, suddenly now slow. So last name, last name. So that is it. So the next piece of information we need to take from the user is the email, also the password and the gender and the checkbox. So shift alt arrow down. So I'll have the email, and I'll type email. Then here will be email, and this email is very important. I'll put it email so that it can help us to do some front end validation. So here will be email, and here will be email. Then the next one is the password. So I'm going to change all this to password. Password. Now, when we add the type of password, it makes it possible, and this is inbuilt in HTML, that our password will no longer be visible to us or to any person that want to steal our password. So I have to change this to password. So notice that for this one of type string, if I type string I can see it, but for the one that is of type email I cannot see it. Saved. So the one that is of type email or password, if I type something, see that is no longer visible. So that is one of the importance of that password value. So next is the gender. So I can put here field set label male, I put here male, then I can have here input, so I have radio. So why are we using the radio here? Because a person cannot be a male and a female at the same time, for example. So we want the person to only choose one gender. So we have here male, male, then we'll not duplicate it. So here will be female. Then here will be female. So here will be female. And here will be female. So is this correct? So let's check if it will work the way we want. Then we will know that we'll know whether it is correct or not. So remember, we said that we want the person to choose only one gender. We don't want somebody to choose that I'm a male and a female, for instance, if that's what we want. So if I click here, you see that it selects that I'm a male. But if I click here, see that it also selects it too. Now why is that? Because they bear different names. So if we want that to work the way we want, it then means this name here has to be gender, for example, gender. So because they now bear the same name, so it will ensure that the person cannot choose more than one. So after refreshing, now I can choose I'm a male. Then if I choose I'm a female, you see that the male own is unchecked. Now if I want the male own to be checked by default, I just add attribute checked. And this means the male own will be by default checked, but the user can switch back to male, to female, and to male. So the last piece of information that we need to take from the user according to a key point is a checkbox to accept terms and conditions. But I want to also explain that the checkbox, unlike the ready button, can be used to it can be used to allow a user to choose more than one option. For example, I can have a field set here. I would say page 4. Choose your hobbies. So we'll now move. I'll type my label. I will say swimming. So tab swimming, and input. So I'll type check box tab swimming tab swimming swimming. Then next, now I'll just duplicate this and make it into 3, 1, 2. So this one now I'm going to put dancing, and here I'm going to put dancing, and lastly here I'm going to put reading, because people like to read. Most people like to read or choose reading as their hobby. So if I save, now notice that in each of these the name attribute or the name or the value of the name is different. Swimming, dancing and reading. So the user can check more than one or can choose more than one. But using the checkbox, the user is the radio button rather, user is restricted to one. So the user can choose swimming and reading. Now, if you want this checkbox to appear before the text, all you just need to rearrange this. So lastly, let's now add another feed set. And we're going to add a checkbox, sorry, an input. So I'll say checkbox. Tab. Terms. Then I can add a label here. Be a label. So I'll say terms. Then here I'll say accept our with my anchor tag. Now I don't want this link to go anywhere. Tab, accept, terms, terms and conditions. So that is it. So if I save, sorry, not that, I'm going to have this. So that's not loaded, not loaded. So now I'll have this accept terms and condition. So accept our terms and condition. Now I'll have the last one, which is a feed set that will contain set button, submit, and this should be of type submit. So if I save, you see that I'll have a submit button. Now if I click this, notice that it will attempt to submit the form and refresh the page. So supposing that we don't want the user, for example, to submit the form without accepting these our terms and conditions, and by extension any other input or form tags or any of this input that we don't want, that we want to make compulsory. Yes, that's the right word. I want to make compulsory. So I want to make this input compulsory. So I'll just put the attribute required. So that will force the user or remind the user that this field is important.
and you forgot to fill it. So if I click on this now, notice that it asks me, please tick this box if you want to proceed. So this is how we have it for today's class, and we are able to cover all of these points, and it is my desire that you use this video to prepare for our next class. So see you in our next class. Thank you very